Alright, so how's everyone doing? Um, there's so much I want to talk about, um, as a whole, but, I've been really thinking about and viewing, people's, uh, people's self-discovery of truth. You know, what, what redefines truth? What is people's own personal truth, and what are they trying to find? Um, when you look into truth or trying to find ah okay, can't do it that way. All right. So anyways, gotta love life stuff. So trying to find truth and discovering that truth. So many people are trying to find answers and looking towards people like myself, as a voice, trying to find that foundation, trying to find that strength within themselves. And I talked about this before, and I'll continue to talk about this again because it's really starting to become uh, a routine. People are trying to find some kind of foundation for their life. And quite a few people that I've been just kind of watching and studying on how they do their podcasts and things like that is they show people on, like, go look at this book, go look at that book, just do some basic meditation techniques, or um, align your chakras, um, things like that. They just give you like a guideline of what to try, but not realizing that the viewer, um, can't can't grasp what they're wanting. Because I mean, if you can go sit down and meditate, but if you don't have any kind of guidelines to do that meditation, you're just gonna just kind of sit there in the dark, unless if you do some research. And research is definitely key, especially around this time. So many people are looking for so many answers. Answers to questions that they have. Uh, you know, self-realization. That what they may have been following isn't working for them. Whether it be religious or new age or things of that nature. They're really, we're coming to a time where we just want a foundation. Again, we want a foundation. And just like myself, Christ is my foundation. And it's not just because of a religious standpoint, but it's because of my experiences personally. I have had many spiritual encounters, and Christ's energy has always been that one source for me. So I had a spiritual encounter, so I am aware on how the spiritual realm works. I've been in contact with different beings, whether you call them angels, whatnot. I've seen strange things in the sky, from what looks like stars moving around, things like that. I've had those experiences, so it opens up my horizons. But other people don't have that experience. But I've told people before, though, is that you have had spiritual encounters before. You just got to remember what those spiritual encounters were. And once you discover those spiritual encounters, um, that can be your foundation point. And what I mean by Christ being a foundation for me, is that there is so much, and I talked about this before in the previous video. There's so much testimonies on what Christ, or the healing of using Christ's name, Yeshua's name, uh, saying prayers and things of that nature. There's many testimonies that they felt a presence of healing. They felt a presence of love and warmth and guidance. Um, and it sticks, right? It sticks. You begin to create a personal relationship with that Christ energy, um, that defines within you. And when you discover that, it changes your perception. And this is where, if you go into a church and stuff, not, there are some churches I'm sure that are out there that really do utilize their healing. Say, hey, you want to have Christ in your life, where it will help you heal, and then go through that session. But a lot of churches don't do that. And like I said in the previous video, is the a real translation in Hebrew is that there is no church. It's is an assembly. Assembly. It's just an assembly of people growing together. And your church, your assembly, is within yourself. And it's just discovering that nature. So when you are seeking for healing, you got to discover that foundation. There's uh, so many other energies out there, right? And this is where channeling comes in again, of these beings that are of divine love, or at least they say they are of divine love. But it's always it's the same thing over and over again. Hey, we're bringing peace. We're helping to raise the consciousness up of humanity, things of that nature. But it never really defines that healing process that we need in our lives. Especially with all the human aspects that we go through. Going through relationships, breakups, marriage issues, deaths in the family, um, fighting with your friends or loved ones, a dividing between maybe, your religious aspect of self, not agreeing with people, there's so many different factors, that evolves healing, if you were abused, sexually, physically, verbally, that's really scarring, and you need to be able to go somewhere for that healing process, without it being mechanical in nature, not saying all psychiatrists are mechanical, but, a lot of it is just a mechanical nature. But the cool thing is a lot of psychiatrists now have opened up their horizons and bring in the spiritual aspect, whether it be from a religious standpoint, spiritual standpoint, even past lives and things like that are on the playing field now. So it really helps people who are going through stuff, like people hearing voices. It's not a you're a crazy anymore aspect. It's, oh, hey, maybe you're empathic or telepathic, and you are hearing what surrounds you. You're hearing what surrounds you. So when someone tells you that, it makes you feel good about yourself. You're like, hey, I'm not a freak. I'm not weird. I'm not crazy. It's actually a normal thing. You go through life, always thinking that you're weird and crazy, but when you start hearing all these testimonies from people, 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, talking about the same thing as you, this really allows us to become part of a collective, a collective state where we can bond and connect with each other. And I'm not going to say the word resonance, because I really feel that the word resonating with others is creating more dividing, because when someone's talking about something differently, or a perception that somebody doesn't want to hear, I don't resonate with that, so then they turn it off. but you got to be able to listen at everybody's perception. Because when you listen to everybody's perception, it's going to open the horizons for new ideas, new creativities, business opportunities, which is a big deal. I mean, we want to look at business opportunities because life is a business, and you got to have that foundation in your life and strategize your life in that uh, business structure. But so many things that we got to be more open-minded, and we also have to learn to accept people as well for their lifestyles. So we're not judging. That's one of the key things. You may not agree with it, but we don't need to be judging others. We need to just be able just to sit down and just be able to have a talk and share perceptions. And whoever you talk to, they'll let you know, hey, I don't quite understand this, or I don't really care much for the conversation we're having, things like that. So then you can always change the subject into something else. But yeah, it's so very important to really start to be that voice. I cannot stress that enough, to be that voice for people. There are so many people who talk a lot, but not on a video, but through just a lot of words and texts. And I do the same thing. I'll go on live chats and things like that, and I'll just write, and that's all good and everything. You get to know people that way. But I really feel that when you have a voice and a face to go with that voice, it really helps people a lot. It really allows the viewer to acknowledge a different perception, get to learn or listen to that voice, whether it is a humble voice or an aggressive voice or a commanding voice, right? Or a loving voice. It really broadens the horizons, and connecting with others. And that's my dream, is to connect with people despite their diversity, and to open up the doors for people who are closed-minded, who only have one perception but can't really go into different perceptions because maybe they're fear-based, maybe they're too stuck in their ways. I really want to open that door where you're accepted for who you are, as well as being creative, and finding that creativity. And that's my dream too, is to be able to start having group discussions, which I'm going to start doing Hangouts again, I think, on Google. So I'm going to look at maybe doing that, maybe starting on Sunday again, doing group Hangouts, at least until I can figure out this YouTube thing. I also am looking into Zoom, and see if that'd be an easier way to do group chats. But think about doing a Google Hangout maybe on Sunday. I did this a couple years ago. We had an awesome spiritual group where we just kind of just linked up. We tested our empathic abilities. We tested our telepathic abilities, and it was really an amazing experience. And things just, at the end of the day, it just kind of, everybody kind of went on their separate paths. But that always stuck with me, and that I wanted to continue that, but I didn't want to do that until I was ready myself. So, and I think I'm going to probably go ahead and start that, because my vision is to start a school that allows people with abilities, no matter what it may be, empathic or telekinesis or creative arts, like, creating businesses, things like that. Bringing all of this to the table, redefining things. There's creative minds out there that can change the world. You look at oh man, what is his name? Hold on, let me get his name real quick. But there's so many creative people out there that are redefining technology and things like that. Arcturus Ra, he's creating some awesome technology. Um, and there's another guy, and I can't remember his name. I have it on the tip of my tongue. But he owns iPyramids, and he creates these awesome pyramid structures that are made out of copper and magnets and minerals and all these awesome things that are just uncanny, and it's really quite exciting. And I've told him many times, I'm like, man, this is going to be future stuff, because those pyramids, make those things into I think his name is Joey Styles. I believe that's his name. Let me make sure. Oh, I can't find him. Well, anyways, but yeah, so he has iPyramids. So if you're familiar with that, man, definitely check it out. I think it's ipyramids.com. Awesome stuff. But it's things like that that really get me excited on where things are heading, and that's what we need. We need that spiritual creativity back, because this world is focused so much on the physical aspect of, like I said before, people want, need all the time. And this is where the God of Fortune comes in again. And, the God of Fortune just means that you are idling, you're idol worshiping the physical realm. And you're just only focused on that. I was in Pizza Hut, and me and my wife were checking out, and we got billed wrong, because we got this buy one get one free salad bar thing. And me and my wife, we don't eat no animals or cheese or nothing, so we were very limited on what we could eat there. But we went to go pay, and it was like $10, and I was like, wait a minute, isn't it like $6.99? So my wife paid, and then I was like, wait a minute, isn't it like $6.99 for a thing? And she's like, well, you bought some other stuff, some beverages. And I was like, no, we didn't. And this person was just didn't know how to do anything. That person was just zombified, and it was frustrating, because it's not that hard to count money back or figure out what's going on, right? But I just handed my wife $1, so we ended up being like $1 short. But it was just that experience there for me, seeing those workers there, it just really just made me realize, that you know people don't want to be where they are right now. People don't want to be working at Pizza Hut or things like that. I mean, you got to take care of your family and everything, but you got to have that sense of that will and intent, and be the best you can be. I mean, if you're working at Pizza Hut or McDonald's or something, still be the best you can be, man. Still bring that good customer experience, because the experience that we had, I mean, if we were other people, they really could have got really ticked off. So, I mean, that's where you just have to just be the best version of you, but sometimes you just don't know how to be that best version. Um, and that's where it's a lack of spiritual awareness. And that's just something you gotta really look into for yourself. Spiritual awareness is key. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I also was kind of wanting to talk about like the full moon stuff. I usually make new moon, full moon videos, but I've just been too busy. But I figured I would talk about it here. And with it being a new moon, that was a pretty wild uh, full moon on the first. I mean, that thing was really bright, and the energies were quite different. And I don't know, man. I mean, that the moon itself, there's just something that just isn't the same. Even a couple years ago, the moon was different, and the moon now is just it's something different. I don't know what it is, but if you never heard me talk before, I always use the new moon and the full moon as a way for people to maintain a calendar structure for their life, of what you want to manifest, what you want to create, being creativity, business, relationship wise, utilizing the new moon as your starting point, and setting your will and intent out there. So then you can be stay focused on what you're wanting to create, what you want to maintain. I mean, if you want to focus on relationships, whether it be with a spouse or friendships, your family, your loved ones, whatnot, just keep bringing that will and intent out there. Um, and then you got like around 15 days or so, depending on how it goes. It's kind of a weird structure, the new moon full moon thing, because it's like a 28 to 30 day structure, and the days always change. Like it could be 13 days and then it'll be a full moon, or 15 days and then a full moon. So it just varies, but it gives you a guideline. I mean, it's not that you're worshiping the moon or anything. It's just it allows you to have some kind of a schedule for yourself. So new moon, you create your foundation, your structure, your will and intent, and then we go and revisit with the full moon and see what you have manifested in your life. Did you manifest that relationship that you were looking for? Did you get new business opportunities open up for you? Relooking at things, just giving you that 13 to 15 day aspect of relooking. Just like with the new year that a lot of people uh, uh, worship still. I don't know what other way to put it. That gives you people, you do a whole year look at what they accomplished. But why don't you just turn that into like a 15-day accomplishment? What did I accomplish within 15 days? Did I just waste it away? Was I relaxing, or was I productive during those 15 days? It gives you a shorter time rate, so then you can better estimate and view your life in a business structure. So then you can get your life back on track, because life can get crazy, man. I mean, especially when you're in the working world. Like myself, I work 40 hours a week. Holidays, I work more than that, so it really, really becomes really busy. So you can get distracted easy. You just want to just relax and things like that. But I also want to make videos and do live videos and stuff too. So I'm really trying to push the envelope for myself to get myself out there. But I'm also a family man. I got kids and a wife that I also got to take care of and spend time with as well. So my life becomes quite busy. And but I still find ways to get my voice out there. And that's one of the key things, is to keep that will and intent going. And if you feel tired, man, definitely take a break. I wanted to go live yesterday, but I was exhausted. So I just sat down and just prayed about it, meditated, and I just got that, hey, just relax and sleep, man. You got another day. So I was like, all right, well, we'll just go live today. I got self-motivated to do so that really got me motivated. But yeah, so it's just utilizing all these things. And we also got this, and this is the thing that really is interesting for this January event is that we had a full moon, bright golden full moon, harvest moon. I think it was a harvest moon uh, for the 1st of January, and then towards the end of January we got this blood moon. I think it's a blue blood moon or something like that. But it's quite interesting in how we're having this in such a short amount of time in a 30-day structure I think for January. So it's interesting times, and it really gives you a different perception on some things, on how viewing astrology itself. Because gotta look up in the sky, man. You really begin to see a lot of interesting things. Just like to talk about before last week, I was getting my vehicle started, getting ready to go to work. It was like almost 6 in the morning, and I saw a moving bright light. So it looks like a star. It's not really a star; it's a bright light. And I've seen this before. I've seen like 30 or 40 of them going through in the sky. So it's definitely something going on. It was beings letting me know that they were there, because I was asking for answers. Say, hey, can you show me signs in the sky? Let me know you're there, and that was my sign for me. So it was awesome. But I was noticed recently, the past couple days, ever since I saw that, Orion's belt, the Palladian constellation. There's one of the stars that is really, really bright right now, and I thought it was like one of the planets, but it's Orion's belt, and I don't ever remember one of the stars just being bright like that. So I found it quite interesting, and I'm still observing that aspect. But I've talked with people, and people don't even look up to the sky to look for things. People focus so much on the ground, or they focus on just their own perception, of, hey, I'm going in to go do this and that, so on and so forth, without connecting with anybody. If you ever hang out with me, you really begin to see my perception. And my wife's cool with it, but some people find it a little weird. But when I go out into public, man, I say hi to everybody. I literally do. I say, hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you? You know, things like that. I say that to everybody. I make eye contact with as many people as I can. And the reason behind that is because I know what it's like to be on the opposite side. Because my life before 2010 was on the flip side. I was really quiet, shy. I stayed pretty much to myself. I was really emotionally unstable and depressed a lot because I couldn't really relate with anybody. I didn't really have any friends that I could talk to or anything like that. So I always looked for people to acknowledge me, or say, hey, how are you? How's it going? Things like that, right? Always looked for that. So when I had my awakening in 2010, and my my life just went to a whole 360, and I really learned a lot about everything. So with my positive outlook on life and balanced outlook on life, I try to be that person, be that voice that I didn't have. So yeah, I always say hi to everybody, and just I try to make their experience, even if it's for a second, just to bring a smile to their face. Because I mean, if you bring a smile to someone's face, man, I mean, you definitely did a good job there. And you never know who you'll meet, in the store or out on the street or anything. You can change a person's life. That's definitely it takes some encouragement to do that too, because I mean, you're saying hi to everybody, and and there's some people I don't say hi to, just because you get that vibration when you're more aware of your empathic abilities. You can get that sense of, oh, this person really doesn't want no one to talk to him, and you just let it be. But just staying in tune with everybody really creates that connection with people. And that's what I want to see, is a connection with people, and I want to see a connection with people online as well. I still got to figure out how to get on a YouTube Live, so I still got to play around with that as well, because a lot of my foundation is on YouTube, so there's a lot more people that know me on there than on Facebook, because it's just um, more or less my friends on here, which is great. But we got the sharing thing on here, so got to spend all that time sharing video to get out to new audience. But yeah, it's pretty fun. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, you can be that inspiration for others. And it starts with you. It starts by you cleaning up your life and looking at your life, balancing out your life. Seeing what you need, in your life to make you um, the best you, right? To make you the best you. And that's the idea of life, is to discover what life is. I mean, life is not just waking up in the morning, uh, slaving away trying to pay your bills and trying to put food on the table and keeping a roof over your head. It's not that at all. It's so much more to that. We are here to connect with people, and we're here to uplift people out of that state, out of that box form. I mean, no matter where you look, you see boxes everywhere. TV is a box. Just even me on Facebook here, I'm in a box. Everybody is in their own little box. And sometimes you get so trapped in that box, you get isolated, and you begin to feel helpless, and you can feel alone, and um, people get so trapped in the phones, right? People are so stuck in their phone of, hey, what's going on with this and that in the social media world, that you lose focus on the real world, on the world that surrounds you. Birds flying in the skies. Where I live, there's deer and rabbits, squirrels, and things like that, all over the place. And, it's the beauty of nature, the beauty of life that surrounds us, you know. And even when it's cold outside, man, I can't wait till it's springtime. But even when it's cold outside, it gives you a whole different atmosphere of life, that your surroundings change. Your surroundings can change at all times. New opportunities come up. Um, the things in the past get buried. We're learning on how to forgive. Forgive the past is key. Learning to forgive is definitely key in anything. Even if it's something really really traumatic that happened to you. The point of forgiveness uh, is just realizing and releasing uh, what they did to you. Because if you don't forgive, you get such hatred over that person for what they did to you, uh, that it really begins to be a burden to you, and it becomes a burden to others. But when you learn to just forgive that, create that peace within yourself, you can begin to move on. The scar may remain, but at least you don't have that hatred within your heart and that bitterness within your soul, you can release that. And again, when you observe people, you can really see, people who have had traumatic experiences, and it affects their life. It does. It really does affect their life. And that's why um, I'm getting my voice out there to realize, hey, we've all had hard times and experienced different things, but we have to learn to forgive and find that uh, that sacred place, right? The sacred place, and that sacred place is within us. We got to take that time every night to find that sacred place. And that's through meditation, that's through prayer, that's talking to God, the Most High, that's talking to Christ, that Christ energy, that Yeshua energy um, within us, to find that key of heaven that dwells within us. And you look at that key of heaven as a symbolism, right? A symbolism of strength and a symbolism of hope, that you have uh, that encouraging light to guide you out of the darkness, right? Because life is darkness, and darkness isn't something that is negative or demonic by nature. Darkness is just means that it's hidden within us, right? We have the key of heaven, but darkness surrounds us, so we're having a hard time unlocking that door. And that's really a perception that we really need to realize when we go within ourselves, is that when we go within ourselves, we're going to be facing our demons. We're going to be facing, our scarring past that we have tried to block out, right? Many different elements you're going to have to experience to get into the kingdom of heaven within yourself. It's all within. Christ, the Bible talked about that a lot, is that the kingdom of heaven dwells within you. I was on a live chat with Truth Seekers podcast. He was talking with Jordan Maxwell, and I brought up some interesting things. One of the people on the live chat had a question about the what the four creatures meant in Revelations, right? The four creatures, and I've been researching, and the Spirit has been guiding me to really look at the brain, because like the pineal gland, the third eye, is right in the center of the brain, right? And I've just been really observing the pictures that I have of it, because it represents the eye of Ra, and the eye of Ra again is a picture of the brain. And with everything talking about the four corners of the earth, throughout the Bible, they talk about the four corners of the earth constantly. And you can base it into different things. And this is what I said, you can look at it as the four corners of the mind, right? You got north, I might get this wrong. So north, south, east, north, south, east, and west, right? See, I told you I'd probably get it wrong. But anyways, so it's four points: north, south, east, and west. So it's the mind, right? And then it got me thinking about the rivers and things like that. Talking about the four rivers in Genesis, which again can be the mind. The Garden of Eden could be the third eye, right? And then you can also utilize that for the body. So you got north, then your feet are south, and then of course east and west. And I might be getting that wrong, but you get the basic concept. So north is your head, south is your feet, and then east and west, both your hands. And that's the four corners of the earth. And when you do that, and you just stand straight and you hold out your arms, what do you get? You get the cross, right? The four corners. You get a T. You get the cross. So, cross is also a symbolism within the religious community. So you got the cross, which is also the crossroads. So, and what is the crossroads? That means that in life you're going to you're going to be in a crossroads. You're going to be in the center of that cross, and you're going to have to make choices on the path that you're going to choose. But what about if you can choose all those paths at the same time and remain centered, remain balanced? And that's key, because the four corners is the illusion, because when you choose just one certain path, you're only getting one perception. But when you stay centered, stay balanced, then you can learn from all four paths at the same time. And that is the hidden keys of the four paths. And I found that fascinating, and I really was hoping I could bring that up in this video, and I did. So that's awesome. But it's learning how to redefine everything we learn, and taking in, people's perceptions. Don't be turning it down, but doing research on it. Just like channeling. I'm not down on people for channeling, but I definitely think that we all need to question what is being channeled in, what is the source of the energy, and then from an ancestral standpoint, look at our ancestors and what they told us, and what to be aware of, listening to all these spirits and voices and things like that. I was through that podcast, they were talking about Job, so I began to start reading Job again, and I was just kind of scrolling through Job, and I remember that I was reading this actually a month ago, and it talks about Job and him being tempted by Satan and things like that, and how Satan travels within the earth and then up the earth, within the earth and up the earth. So, what does that mean within the earth, right? And within the earth means you're literally within the earth. And if you look at our ancestors, they talk about the underworld. The underworld. It's not called hell. It's called the underworld. That's the real translation. And it's that beings live underground. And you can call it theories and whatnot, but there's more and more proof that there's a lot of underground bases, underground. There's a lot of underground stuff going on. Stuff going on underwater. There's a lot of stuff going on underground, and even the Bible talks about the underworld. And a thing that I really find fascinating when people have out-of-body experiences is that they talk about the underworld and how they visited the underworld, and how there is so many grotesque creatures, or just a different kind of creatures that live under there. And to me, it really narrows down to that empathic ability again, because what if these out-of-body experiences is just our empathic abilities of becoming more aware of what we need to be aware of, maybe our guides are showing us, hey, this is what is going on this world, this is what is distracting people, empathic abilities, telepathic abilities, and you can look through that again throughout history, that a lot of scientists and even Hitler and people like that were fascinated with telepathic abilities, and Antarctica is a big one. The Book of Enoch talks about Antarctica and how it is. There's something big going on there with Antarctica. Again, that's what I talked about on that live chat. Was Antarctica, and that's another thing I've been researching too. Um, but yeah, I could be talking forever on this stuff. There's some other stuff I want to talk about, but I'm gonna probably go ahead and call it a night. Uh, so yeah, so at the end of the day, this video is all about just finding that truth and that guiding light within you, and realizing that you gotta find a foundation, man. You gotta find a foundation that is going to be that spiritual connection for you. Because once you have that spiritual connection, that is going to be the start point of your guiding light. And if you just have a physical point, it's going to take you longer to discover that spiritual awareness. But like I said, I'm, pretty much almost guarantee that almost everybody has had some kind of spiritual encounter in some way, shape, or form. And you want to utilize that as a starting point. A starting point in realizing that you do have a spiritual connection. And you can also bring in shadow beings and things like that as well. I mean, if you've seen shadow beings, that's definitely part of this spiritual realm as well. I've talked and listened to some people, and their experiences have been just the shadow beings themselves. So that leads me to believe that, not believe, but aware that definitely there's something going on there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video with a prayer. Just some healing and guidance for whoever who may be watching at this time. So dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the words that you have brought across, and for those who watch this video. May this help them out and allow them to be guided by your Spirit, be guided and be strengthened within them, that they may find that strength, that they may find that light that they constantly are searching for. Because in life sometimes it's so hard to find that light throughout all this darkness. So just show them that light, be that guiding light for them, Lord. Please just show them how to be more creative, be more balanced within their life, lead them to where they need to be in life, guide them and show them, that they are worthy to be where they want to be, that their self-worth is your guiding light, that whatever dream that somebody has, that dream can become a reality. That dream can become that reality. Just show them and guide them that, and be aware, that light has always been there, that the Spirit of Christ has always been there for them, always. All you gotta do is just answer that door. Just answer that door. And bring that connection back. Bring that connection back to the Spirit, to that reality of connection. That connection with you, the connection with the energy, with the synergy that surrounds us daily. Because we're all connected. there's uh, so much more to life than just the physical aspect. But we're connected so much more from a spiritual aspect. That's how we connect with everyone. So Lord, just continue to open those doors and be that guiding light for everyone that needs it, and just open up the gateway of just giving them that peace and prayer. For whoever's listening, just take a deep breath. Just take that deep breath right now. Just take that deep breath. Breathe it in and out. And just let go. Let go of that stress. Let go of that anger that maybe you had today. Maybe having a hard time with with your spouse or a relationship of some kind. Just at this time, just breathe it out. Just let it out. Just let it out. Just breathe in and out. And then just feel that energy within you. Feel that 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 golden ball of light. Just envision that golden ball of light surrounding you, um, healing you. The rays of light, just allow it to heal you and soothe you, and calm you at this time. So yeah, just let those rays of light just heal you and guide you. So yeah, pray in the name of Jesus, Heavenly Father, Amen. So hopefully this helps you in some way, shape or form. And just realize, that you are that guiding light. You have that guiding light within you. It's so important to discover that. So yeah. So if you got any questions or concerns, let me know. I mean, we're here for you. And again, I can never stress enough, definitely be that voice for people as well. Because the more voices that we have out there, the more awareness and healing that we can bring to the world. So yeah, love yourself, keep shining bright, and I'll talk to you guys next time. All right. And I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Shalom.